everybody. What's good? Happy
Hi.
Monday. Hey, G. Hey, Oliver. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into Reality Unloaded podcast with your faves or soon to be faves, whatever you want to call us. Make sure to hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to follow us at Reality Unloaded Pod on Instagram and Reality Unloaded Podcast on TikTok. And we're here covering the Traitors US season 3 with my lovely co-hosts. They're going to be my co-hosts for the season, holding it down for me. It's G and Oliver. Give it up.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
So, this episode, right? How did we feel about it? It was pretty in comparison to the last.
It was a meh out of 10. Meh. It was so, we'll get into it, but it's just so funny because I shared it with them, but like my notes for this episode, I was so irritated and annoyed. I was like, I can't.
Yes. It was quite the dramatics for not much, in my opinion. How about you, G? How did you feel?
Honestly, if I could fast forward through, I would have. But because, we have to recap these, episodes for you all, yeah, I had to, be patient and watch it on regular speed. And, it could have been a fast forward, like times two.
Yeah, I agree. You already know. My friends know that I will watch something in 2 times speed. I do not care if I'm given the option. I just haven't downloaded the extension for Peacock. So that's why I didn't do it this time. But I agree. I would have definitely fast forward through a lot of this. But there were some, key moments to the story, storyline purposes. But
And that was
mhm,
the thing for me about the biggest part of this episode. It felt like the setup for next week's episode, which I understand important for storyline purposes, but I wish they let them air both because it would have made more sense.
I agree with that. Oh, well, G
Ooh.
will be right back. I do agree with that for real. I also just feel like, if they gave us 3, how do you feel about this actually? When it comes to series giving us like a few episodes and then giving us once a week. Like, how do you feel about that whole method that they've been doing? A lot of shows have been doing in networks.
See, I'm impatient. I am, if you will, miss impatient, if you will. Dylan might be misguided. I'm miss impatient.
Mm,
Um, I prefer the 2 to 3 episode drop because it's like this slow drop can sometimes feel like if we hit a dry bump like we did this episode, it helps it move along. And again, I think like it will help tell the actual like full story of the season better than having to wait like a whole 7 days. And I'm like, all right, like this was a womp.
yeah. G, since you just came back, what I was asking is like, how does he feel, or how do you guys feel about these networks and shows dropping a few episodes and then just giving us one episode every week? I'm sure you would want the whole season.
Yes, and it's unacceptable. Okay, what makes you think you can drop a boatload the first week and then now I have to wait for y'all to drag this season for I don't even know how long? Like unacceptable,
Mm-hmm.
unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy, like, I just feel like just choose one or the other. Don't give me both. That's where I'm at with it. Um,
Agreed, agreed.
if the producer knows it's an amazing season, I don't mind the every week, but if not, drop it all. Thank you, Lindy. Yes, and thank you for watching. I appreciate you.
Can I ask
Um,
Wendy a question?
yes.
Do you feel as if this season thus far is worth an episode every week?
Mm.
Do you all feel that?
Yeah.
No.
Ooh. How about you, G? Do you think it's worth the episode every week?
No, the cast is not giving, y'all. I'm sorry,
I
they're not.
I have to say it again. The women are providing as per usual, and the men are just there. Like there's only a very select few of men that are playing the game, and that's annoying.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I watched this episode on Friday and I haven't seen it since. If I remember correctly, Sam said two sentences the entire episode. Two.
Don't even get me started on Sam because he's a part of the reason why I feel how I feel towards the faithfuls.
Mm,
So he got to just don't let him talk at all. Just leave him where he
yeah,
is.
yeah. Aside from him being like Britney's ex, which is like ew, because like weirdo. But anyway, free Britney. Um, like my whole thing with him is okay, you better do something next episode if you make it through and Rob is still there because he's the one that said, we'll get there. We'll get there. But he was the one that said, "Oh, if you're still here the next day, then I'm going to start looking at you." So I said, "Okay, you're putting it out there, so you better follow through with it." Cuz you guys are just letting Rob slide like it almost feels like Rob is like Jordan from the challenge. Like they let him just like slide through every freaking show he does without like getting him in there. Like, ugh. Anyway,
Now that's a read and a good one.
because isn't it not like why they let Jordan go through every final like that so easily? He didn't even go into elimination for the challenge season 40. So I feel like wasn't Rob doing the same thing? Like he pretty much slid through deal or no deal island or something like that and made it to the finale.
I can't wait, Kate, until we get to the round table because yeah, there's a lot I'm definitely gonna say and add on because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
these faithfuls, especially after, don't even get me started because I don't want to give it away. I'll just wait.
All right, no problem. Okay, so let's get into it, right? We see the traitors in the turret. Boston Rob is clearly lying and setting like the way that he's setting this whole conversation up about why he targeted Bob to begin with, etc. And he's like, "Oh, several people were saying his name. Like he was coming after me." And then Danielle and Carolyn both were like, "Okay, but he didn't say your name specifically. Like you should have had these conversations. So what are we doing?"
And that's what got me. First of all, Seattle Rob, I would have had more respect for you if you actually stood 10 toes on business and said, "Yeah, you see what happened to him? It can happen to you if you cross me." But Philadelphia Rob is really pissing me off because listen here, because I can't do it. I can't handle it anymore because like you're being just as messy. Like it's like you watched and saw what Bob did and said, "You know what? Hold my glass because I'm gonna do it too." I'm over it. I'm happy that the girls, especially Carolyn, stood her ground and was like, "I'm gonna defend Bob." But it just was. I am so over Nashville Rob. I'm over it. I'm tired. I'm tired. And yes, I will be going through every city, and it'll get really funny when I start doing international ones. Just saying.
Let me just also add to that, Oliver, you're so funny, but let me add to that the moment where he was telling them, Caroline and Danielle, like, "Oh, I will never go against you ladies. I will never. It was just because he said my name and blah, blah, blah." And they're looking at, and in my head, I'm like, Caroline, Danielle, lock eyes. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, that because what do you mean? Oh, I will never come. You literally just came for Bob, and y'all say y'all didn't even give him the option to defend himself. You didn't gather us together. Like all the time that y'all spending in the house and whatnot, trying to like make these moves and decide who y'all gonna murder. You couldn't pull Bob over like, hey, like. I don't appreciate what you said, but since you didn't say any names, can you help me to, like, if my name does come up out of those three people, right, that come into the game to play, if my name does come up, could you help me, deflect that? Can you help me? Just let me know or something. Like, you did not need to go guns blazing for Bob the drag queen. No, okay? You just got rid of an entertaining character for what? There's nobody else with a storyline, honestly, besides
Yeah.
him, the Bambies, and you know what I mean, like, and the Traitors. That's really it. Everybody else is just ding ding ding. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. That's what they are.
Well, like you said, like Carolyn clocked it. She was like, that was simply based off of ego. You were motivated by your ego to get Bob out because Bob was vocal. Bob had pull in the house. People wanted to work with Bob, and Bob was, as we all know, very entertaining. So I was like, okay, Carolyn, like, okay, I see you. Like, come on, the wheels are turning. Look at Danielle and be like, hey, turn to your partner and say, hey, we gotta murk this nigga. Sorry. But I don't know. Like, okay, anyway. And I just want to say this: the way that Carolyn says Bob, the drag queen, it is so funny to me. Like, please, y'all, if y'all didn't notice, like, just listen to how she says it. Do it, Oliver, please.
Because why does she put that weird accent on the way? She's like, it's like Bob the draw queen, and I was like,
The drag.
I never noticed.
It's so funny.
It's like, is she from the Midwest?
I don't know. Every time Carolyn is on the screen,
I gotta look that up
because all I see is her eyes and the lip liner, or like, that's it. I don't see anything else.
Another thing, why do these people look like they're underwater in their confessionals? It's throwing me off. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
You know what it reminds me?
Disheveled. I'm like, the confessional should be hitting. Like, y'all should be looking good.
Right. You know what it reminds me of? Y'all remember like Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire? Like when they're filming underwater and everything? That's what it gives me. Like, I'm like, why do they look like that? I don't know.
But I did do a quick Google search. Carolyn is from Minnesota.
Okay, see? That makes sense. She says it like them.
She does. It does very Minnesota. And it's like, it just was tickled. It was so funny. I don't know why I focused on it, but it was great. I was like, okay. Speaking of, really quickly though, not a side trip, but it's so funny to me how everybody, like, especially in the recent like post elimination interview with Robin and Nikki, it feels like most people are saying the drag queen. Like, they just say the drag queen.
Yes, I've noticed that too. I'm like, y'all not gonna say Bob's full name, but like,
it's so weird.
Like, it feels like they're calling him by his last name. Like,
right.
That's it. Like, the drag queen. I'm like, okay, like, y'all not gonna say nothing else. But yeah, the turn, and you could tell like Rob was sweating a little bit. He's like, oh, they gonna turn against me. Like, I don't have these girls on my side like I thought I did.
I kind of wish they would have gave him a little bit more energy. And the reason why I'm saying that is because from the next, episodes of previews, it looks like it's about to get staticky in there, and it's towards, a woman. And I don't appreciate that. Y'all should have ganged up on his ass and told him what the heck y'all wanted to do, not letting him decide who's going to be murdered and things like that. That's not fair. You already feel as if he's taken over. You yourself, Carolyn, already feel as if nobody's listening to you. Da, 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 da. That should have been your boiling point right then and there, especially for you to be defending Bob the way that you were. You should have spoken up. Because I already know next week I'm gonna come in hot and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I don't appreciate that. Like, I can already tell.
And I agree with that too, because so referencing back again to that post elimination video, Robin said that she, after Wes told them about the whole the theory about Philadelphia Rob being a traitor, and then Robin went in and said, Dolores, is Danielle trustworthy? Dolores gave Robin the green light. So Robin then told Danielle about Denver Rob and that theory. And so like Robin was like, that's why I got murdered. And so I just kind of am sitting here, I'm like, especially Danielle, I would be like, I would have stuck with the guns with Carolyn and would have been 2v1 defending Robin down. Because it's like, okay, she's telling me information, and we'll get into this information bit later because I have a real problem with Houston Rob and getting all this damn information. People are telling him way too much, and I'm
Way
tired
too
of it.
much.
Way too much.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know why they did not like stick and go doop the doop, because I would have mollywopped.
Yeah,
Like, this
I
is a
agree.
turret, but he can't fight 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't know, maybe like they're thinking that he has so much pull because of the way that he was able to convince everybody that he might turn on them. But I was like, no, like you guys need to be pushing back. You guys have the numbers on your side if you guys band together. So we move on from that, and they're talking about who they're gonna potentially murder for the night. And it's Sam is coming up, and then we see Sam in that shower shot. And I was like, bro, they keep capturing Sam in the shower. Have you noticed that? Anyway, it's him being okay with being like it being filmed. Um then they mention like Robin, and obviously Boston Rob is over here saying, you know what, like let's cause more chaos. Let's go for another housewife. Blah blah. And who was the other person that they had suggested?
Nikki.
Nikki, because there was already so many people going towards Nikki, right?
Mind you, if these people actually thought about who they've been nominating or putting up for, murder, Rob was telling them just last week to get off the Housewives bandwagon. Was he not? But now all of a
Thank
sudden,
you.
you want to go after Robin. Like, let's make that make sense. Like, why are people, this entire cast, they're not thinking? Like, y'all not clocking shit. I understand that, playing the game is different than us watching it, blah, blah, blah. But y'all be talking about, I'm a mastermind, I'm strategic this, I'm thinking from A to Z. Y'all did not think about the obvious answer right in front of your face.
Yeah, I agree with that. So obviously Robin is chosen to be murdered, annoying as hell. And then they go to breakfast. People are knocking loud as hell during breakfast. Typical stuff. We see that like Danielle is kind of like, being super friendly with Dylan during this breakfast, right? And I'm like, okay, what the heck does Danielle have up her sleeve? Dylan is pretty much like on Rob. Like he is in love with Rob. He literally will bow down to the ground. Rob stands on everything. He bow down to the king. That's how Dylan feels about Rob. And at the end of the day, like we obviously see through the confessionals that there's a foreshadowing. One of the Bambis is going home. That's what it felt like.
That was my biggest complaint the entire episode, because those like beginning confessionals quite literally like told the entire story of the episode. And I just was like, it was so foreshadowing, and I was like, for no reason. I was like, why are we doing this? This doesn't make no sense.
So then obviously they find out Robin was the one that was murdered. And like they're surprised. Dolores is over here like, of course I'm gonna be next. Like, why wouldn't I be next? And obviously like people are surprised that some people still made it through, like Nikki. Like people have such a large reaction of her being back and safe, and now they're really considering, okay, is Nikki a traitor? And I think Nikki and Sierra, they walked in together, right? Yeah, I believe so, but I feel like Nikki's had like a larger reaction.
Yeah, they did walk in together because they were it was between them three, Nikki, Sierra, and Robin, that it would have been the murder. So yeah.
Right. And then as we all know, Alan throws Robin's portrait away. And let's move on into this.
Can we talk about Alan's like outfit?
Oh, outfit? Yes. The Statue of Liberty.
Y'all know
this one or the one of the challenge? Because
honestly, both of them. Shit. Well, we'll wait for the challenge. But this one, when he was throwing the what was it, like a Tinkerbell glittery ass like
It
Listen,
was a two-piece.
anything
Yes.
blue is it for me. He looked damn good, okay?
I loved it. I loved it. Very Statue of Liberty though, like very. I lived for it. I thought it was so cute. Alan looked great. I think Alan's been doing like the costume budget, it went up. Okay. And some of the girls, they look really cute too. I'm not gonna lie. Like some of the girls, they be pulling looks. The men, they look boring as per usual. So then before we get to the challenge, right? We see this conversation between Ivor, Sam, and Rob about like him pretty much insinuating that he feels that Rob has to be a traitor because why would he be so certain of Bob the drag queen? Which it's like, hello, yes, Wes, ding, 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 ding. But Wes, you're telling the wrong people. You're telling the wrong people. Ivar is not trustworthy, as we've noticed so far. He's wrong. He's been wrong this entire season. Stop going to that man.
The way Ivar went to Carolyn and was like, I don't know if I should be telling you this. Problem number one, sir. If you're not sure that you should be telling somebody, maybe you shouldn't. Like, I don't understand why. And it was the
I
way
don't know if I should
too
be telling you this.
that Ivar threw Wes's name with it. It wasn't just a package of here's a theory. It was here's a theory with his name on the label. Like, Merry Christmas. Like, you literally just set his ass up to be murdered. You know?
And also during that time where it was Ivar telling this information to Rob, the way he started it, I was like, okay, yeah, get your detective investigation glasses on and be asking these questions. And he literally flipped as he was like giving the script, and he was just like, yeah, I don't believe him because he could be trying to psych me out and blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. I was like, sir, he already figured out everything for you. Do you understand? All you had to do was go and ask Rob the right questions, which you were on the right track of bringing it to his attention. Like, hey, so I'm hearing, like, how the heck could you be so sure if you're not? Like, answer me that. Like, you know what I mean? Why did you have to then go and say, yeah, because Wes has been saying blah, 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 and I don't know if Wes is trying to psych me out or not. Like, you already know the answer. Like, and if y'all do already know the answer and you're doing this for show, right? For the production value or whatever, you still look stupid because they edited you looking dumb. How you go from I'm about to press this guy to you're not even pressing him. You're talking about, oh, Wes could be it. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I was so upset at Ivar when he did this, and I was just like, watch Rob go up to Wes, and Wes is just gonna deflect as Wes does. He's gonna be like, huh? And he's gonna confuse you. Because you can tell when Rob goes up to Wes and says, can we talk for a minute? Rob is like, so
funny.
Did you say it? Did you say it? He's like, no, I didn't say that. I said this. I was like,
what got me is that Denver Rob was walking up to Wes, and Wes already was like, just so you know. Like, Wes didn't even know where the conversation was going, but he was like, he already said the layup. He was like, by the way, I was trying to tell you. I was like, Wes, first of all, terrible liar. Second of all, what are you doing? It was so funny.
I thought it was funny that he was like, yeah, come here. Like, I was like, he's coming to you. How are you going to tell him, come here?
No, I was dying. I was like,
dying.
Wes really thought he was about to be politicking, and Rob was dead ass interrogating him. Like, so you didn't say my name? And he's like, no.
But Wes is, honestly, though, he did it right. He was like,
yeah.
I mean, I did say that, but not those words. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, he was very much like very truthful, but also like, yeah, nah, I didn't say that. Nah, I didn't say that, but I did say this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Wes, if it was somebody else, you could run laps around them. You know what I mean? But Rob was like,
But you could tell that Rob didn't know for sure. He's like,
he
okay,
didn't know. Yes, he did it because Wes is that. Honestly, he knows exactly how to play these types of games, like
Yeah.
where it's a social aspect, but then also like kind of if it's brought to you, then you kind of like deflect it to somebody else. But if it's not brought to you,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
like it
listen,
ain't me.
I was making fun of Mr. Down on his knees and begging last week. I was making fun of him. But you know what, Wes? I'll give you your fours because you're doing something. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're quite on your 2 feet yet, but you're on one knee instead of two and shaking your hands. You're on one knee, so I'll give you that. I'll give you that. We're improving. We're moving up. You're clicking and you're clicking up.
Clicking up, not clicking down.
Clicking down.
You're clicking, but you're clicking down. Oh my god, she's so good. Like who comes up with shit like that, honestly? Um but anyway, so West deflecting was hilarious. Then okay, let's talk about Danielle literally losing all of us that have been with her on this journey. I said, "Danielle, you're going to have this conversation with Carolyn. Y'all are feeling some type of way, right? And then out after you have this conversation with Carolyn about how Boston Rob is moving, you decide to say, and yeah, she must be working with Boston Rob, so I gotta get rid of Carolyn."
I truly had the impersonal. Y'all know that one meme of Giselle and Karen from Potomac, and Karen is like, "You getting it?" And Giselle's like, "No." That was me. I was like walking hand in hand with Danielle. I was like, "Yes, right. We're gonna work together. We're doing this." And then it was literally like a stop. It was like I was like freeze scratch. How did we get here? Because I
I'm still confused
truly.
because she left out of there saying, this guy's gonna, you have to be like a silent assassin, and if we're gonna want to win this game, we gotta get Boston Rob out and all that stuff. She's talking through it, and then all of a sudden she says because she needs someone who will listen to her and work with her. That is why she decided that Carolyn needs to go because Carolyn isn't going to be like a Bob to her. Does that make sense? Like he's not going to work. She's not going to be giving him her information or like helping her like Bob would have helped her or had her back. So I'm
Right.
like,
Because they're
girl, like you
survivors.
said though, Keeks, yes, but like you said, y'all literally just said, "Oh, this man is crazy. Like we can't listen to him." Blah blah
Right.
blah. Y'all agreed to that, and then your confessional is telling me that you gotta get Caroline out. Like, hold on. Just because Rob came in and effed up the traitors doesn't mean you need to continue it. Like, how about y'all form a bond, you two, like you were saying before, and then go attack this man, go get him out. Rather you be a traitor, trying to get Rob out than being a faithful trying to get Rob out. It's way easier to do.
Right.
Hello. But yeah.
And like I can understand, doing like a Sari from season one, and you're getting down to the end and you're like, "I'm sorry, baby, I'm keeping this whole stack for me." I can understand getting rid of Carolyn then. But like, what happened? How did we go from here's the hill of Rob and we just jump over it? Like, how did
Yeah.
we
That was the perfect time to honestly build that alliance with Caroline. Like, I'm not understanding why Danielle did not think of that. And then you want to get her out. Why? So you can get a random new trader in that probably won't listen to you either and doesn't trust you because you were playing them the whole entire freaking game. Like, make that make sense, truthfully. Why would you go and say, let me eliminate a trader that you're already working with just to go get a random new one? You have to decide on who the next one will be. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
like, what if now all three of y'all don't agree on who y'all want to bring in? One person might want one, another one another, and another. Like now, freaking Caroline and Rob can go together and say who they want as the third traitor type shit. You know what I mean? And get you Danielle out. Like I just Danielle, like come on, Jesus.
G is upset with Danielle. Clearly, she is upset with Danielle. And I don't blame you because, yeah, Danielle was getting on my nerves with that. And I was just like, okay, so what are we doing, Danielle? Like, why? And then we go into this challenge. And this challenge, how did y'all feel about it? I mean, like, they got to sit down.
All I could think about was like this similar challenge from season one where they had to like get the mask, I think, or something. The part that I was confused the most with is I don't know if this was a rule maybe that they didn't say on TV, but like within setting it up, like were they not allowed to talk to each other? Because that was my biggest thing. I would have been like, all right, obviously this is a collaborative thing. If somebody knows the answer, let's, talk it out and do this X, Y, and Z. But it seemed like it was you had to know it yourself. I don't know. I was confused.
I would say that they did have to know it themselves because it was a time, like it was like 40 seconds I think they had. So it's like how y'all gonna have time to deliberate and all that? Somebody needs to go, you know what I mean? Pull the right urn and then break it and then make the decision from there. That's when I think the deliberations and things like that could have occurred. But if it would have been done before, like each round, we wouldn't have got to 8 rounds. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's just my
Yes.
thought. I'm not sure if that's correct.
Wait, real quick before we go move forward into the challenge, I do want to point out because it does get highlighted later, that Rob while they're on their way to the challenge, he is talking to Nikki, Chriselle. I don't know who else is in the Jeep with them. I forgot.
I
But
think it was
Rob
just
pretty
them.
I think okay. And Rob pretty much tells them that like Bob the drag queen was targeting Nikki and it was just so out of left field. Yeah, Oliver, talk to me. How do you feel about that
What
moment?
is it with traitors and their kryptonite being in the car? Like every single time it's a car that is moving along, these traitors just go off the road. I don't because here's the part where I was confused. Now listen, I will give a caveat because it did end up working out for him in the end. Like this did give that final nail in the coffin for Nikki. However, I do believe it was out of luck. Because here's the thing for me. If you told me this after Bob got sent home, I would be like, one, why did you tell me this now and not back then? Because that would have been great information back then. And then number two, it would raise alarms in me because it's like, okay, Bob like was a traitor. And so if you're telling me that you know information, for me, in my mind, I'm like, oh, so you're working with him. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was just like, where was this lie going? Where
Do
was
you
this lie
see?
going?
Do you
Mm-hmm.
see where I'm getting upset? Where like these people are not thinking. Like, okay, cool, Nikki. He said that to you. Why didn't I get a confessional? I don't know if she did it or not, but why didn't I get a confessional about how weird that was on her part? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why was it at the end of the episode that we got, Chriselle's confessional about it? You know what I mean? But it was affecting Nikki. And mind you, even just last week, Nikki said that she did not believe Bob was a traitor. Her
Mm-hmm.
and Bob were like this. They were close. She was defending him all the way down, even up until right before the round table that day. You know what I mean? And that even then, she was just like, I don't really know. So for you, Rob, to come through and try to freaking lie, just like you said, Oliver, I'd have been like, excuse me, the guy's not even here to defend himself, number one. Number two, why would you know that information? You're working with
Yeah.
him. You're a traitor as well. Like, and weren't these people a part of the conversations that Wes and Tom and all of them were having about Rob potentially? Like, how do you know this information? If unless you're a traitor yourself, wasn't that getting around? Because they all went up to him and like, your name is getting thrown around a lot. Your name is da 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 da. And I'm just like, oh, so y'all be telling each other when everybody's name is coming up, but y'all not telling each other how shit don't be adding up.
Yeah.
I don't know, but okay. There's a
Um
couple of Yeah.
Yes. Hey, Sophie. I could see Danielle's point of wanting to get rid of Carolyn because Carolyn is a wild card. Why is Carolyn a wild card and not Boston Rob, who just lied to both of them? That's where I don't understand. Like, I feel like it doesn't make sense when she can team up with Carolyn and literally plot to get out Boston Rob. And especially, we're gonna talk about it when it comes to the round table, because they could have capitalized on that moment and they did it.
But hold on, Sophie, I want to agree with you as well to a certain extent. I can see why Danielle would do that because me,
Mhm.
like I said, me watching or being in that house, I'll be like, Caroline, I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know anything
Right.
about you. So I can understand her being like, yeah, I don't have no control, no read or anything on her that I would want to get her out. But to me, at that point in the game, that didn't make any sense. The guy literally just gave you himself on a platter. That was your opening to go and build that relationship with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just,
Al-
yeah.
Also, the
Um,
other thing that I really want to ask Danielle this at some point, because uh, Bob, not Rob, Bob has said it multiple times. Like he was ride or die with Danielle. Like he was like, I was gonna give her the money. Like at the end, like she could take it all. But for me, it's like, okay, so if I was Danielle in this guy who doesn't even go here, who was like, you are a plus one, sir. You were not an OG. And if you took out my closest ally, I would do heaven and hell to get your ass out of this castle. So I don't know where that whole I'm lost. I'm lost. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it.
yeah, I listen. Let's get into this challenge though, because we had 37 minutes. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button, share, comment, subscribe, to stay up, stay in the know with us. We will be covering the Traitors season 3 all season long. It'll be us three. Brandon and Lena will join me for the challenge content, etc. If you're wondering, but it'll be just us three for the Traitors. Okay, so get used to it. Get used to it, baby. Um, but anyway, so okay, we start this challenge. I thought this challenge was okay. This is a way for them to actually make some money because they did horrible in the clown house challenge, right? So they had to redeem themselves with the riddles and such. Alan, of course, as we mentioned, looked like the Statue of Liberty with the headpiece, very cute. And then Brittany, this was your smartest confessional, or the only confessional we've really gotten of you all season, of you stating, why would I stand up for the first few riddles to try and see if I can put my face and protect myself, get a shield or whatever, when the first two people are definitely not going to be the last two up there when it comes to protecting themselves and earning shields, right? Valid. I said, thank you, Brittany. Thank you. This is how I know that you're a gamer. Um, and Oliver, you had this question. Would you guys have replaced Tom or Derek? When it came to the first, like if you would have went up, who would you have replaced?
Nobody. I would have replaced. First of all, I would have put my picture there. Let's start with that. And then, yeah, if I was replacing somebody, it'd be Tom. Like, the fuck?
Yeah, me too.
Like, get your ass out of here.
Me too. I was like, okay, like Tom is gonna try again, and maybe he'll get it right. But Derek, you gotta like, I want Derek to be on my good side so that he doesn't come at me crazy. Because I feel like, look at how he's still coming for Sierra.
We'll get there. We'll get to
Anyway,
that.
so all right, so then we see, like, obviously Danielle ends up being one of the people that goes up to answer a riddle, and then Danielle decides to not put her photo up and put Dolores's photo up, and says, she wants to stop this trend of us, like, the faithfuls going after the housewives, or the traitors going after the housewives, and wants to protect Dolores because they have a bond. But then is going to take Derek's picture down and put Dolores. And then, you know what? I said, okay, she gonna say, well, Derek, I really wanted you to give me a shield and you didn't give me a shield, you know? But then you do it a second time. And now you do it a second time. Now everybody's looking at you crazy. Because why do you feel so comfortable to protect somebody else like that? And then Dolores is going, the person that you just saved, again, has the nerve to question your loyalty.
In front of everybody.
This is where I lost it. This is where I lost my marbles.
Please,
No,
please,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I lost it. So sorry. I lost it the moment she decided to not take her own picture and replace it with who. I don't even care. She could. I don't give a damn if it was Derek or Tom. Don't care. Why would you take Dolores? This lady has, first of all, nobody, no numbers, no nothing. You didn't need to then be the only number for her. It didn't make any sense, like at all. And then for you to do it again in your reasoning, please, please, y'all, please, somebody help me, because this is not the Danielle that I know and or pictured in my head.
Okay. For me, I'll just say this. Like, maybe it's because I also, like, if I was in the house, I would be thinking about it differently and I would approach it differently. I'm not mad at her being selfless, especially because if Dolores had been begging up and down that entire breakfast buffet, begging for a shield, begging, begging, please. So, like, I'm not mad at her being selfless in doing that. The problem is for me, it was her reasoning. When she was describing like why she was doing it, I was like, baby, please stop. Like, you did not need to. You could have just said, she really wanted a shield, we'll be here. Now, Dolores, I'm against you, because why would you have a golden opportunity for somebody to give you a shield gifted on a platter, and then for you to say, now why aren't you afraid? I would have been, if I was Danielle, I would have been pissed
Mad
as hell, because like I'm over here doing something good for you, and then you try to stab me, not even in the back, in the front, publicly. Baby, I would have been hot. I don't know why she didn't sit there and just eat her food. It was like, eat her food. But yeah, I don't, Danielle, like, and I'll say this too, because again, not to keep referencing, but the post interview with Nikki and Robin, Nikki was saying how Bob on that carry the head up challenge, he was so mad at Nikki because like she helped Rob and not her, and Bob was like, no, you need a shield, you need a shield, you need a shield, and that like protection and that like, oh, he was so worried for me will give you loyalty. Dolores, she ain't got none. So I don't know why you're so, I was just like, this entire thing, I was pissed.
And another thing that like I was just like, okay, did Dolores even stand up?
No.
No
questions was answered.
So that's why I'm over here like, Dolores didn't even stand up, and look, you went out of your way again to protect. And then I said, Danielle, can you sit down? Why are you moving so much? And I was just like, okay, well, like, how are you gonna clean this up? Because she couldn't even answer. Like, she was literally a blubbering mess. She was like, and then the tears. I said, oh no, she's malfunctioning.
I'm telling y'all right now, I hope that she mixes. I don't believe that she will, but this is the reason why she gets eliminated. This episode here is the reason. She completely cracked, lost all composure, all her wheels turning, and all of that. Like it wasn't matching. It needs oil. My girl, you effed up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the only thing that she could say to cover her, and Oliver, you pointed this out, was the fact that she earned the team money. She put money into the prize pot because she was really eager to answer these questions. She even got up for the last one. I said, Danielle, if you don't sit your
it's a wrap. What would she have done at that last one? If she would have won the last one, what? You would have taken your picture then and then replaced who?
Right.
The people you put back on. like, defeat
Right.
the whole purpose.
I was just like, okay, like what is happening? And then we see her, right, like have this what is it, like she obviously is being looked at sideways by everybody at this point. Carolyn, Derek, Dolores, Dolores and Derek, they're on the same wavelength. They're not even finishing their sentences, and they said, no, I got it, mm-hmm. Yeah, I peep it. And then you also have like, I'm like, okay, Danielle, like give people a chance to answer the question so you don't look so eager. Like you're not playing this very well. Um and I did almost think that she was going to be the last one to have that question, but then once Alan said Sierra, I said, "Oh, I'm surprised," cuz it looked like to me Danielle got up faster.
Go ahead, Oliver.
I was gonna say it was close because like it literally looked like one of those Olympic finishes at the track and field. Because I was like,
Yeah.
looking, I was like, feet and feet. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, sure, you got it, Alan.
Did any of y'all get those riddles correct?
Yeah.
Like you tried playing it on your own? I think there was
Yeah.
like two of them where I was like, hold on, can you slow down so I can actually like hear what it is that you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm sure they give them more time and things like that. But me, I was trying to like figure it out while it was going. I'm like, dang, 40 seconds to find the right answer. It's like, Jesus. So I wanted to know if like it came as easy to you guys, like
No,
it did them.
I mean, if I was there, I would have done what Bob H did and just what and been like, what was
No. Honestly, he kind of pissed me off though. Because I'm like, you just wanted all of that in the beginning for what though? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you really genuinely wanted to get the answer right and then put your picture up there. But for you to just jump in there, you had no clue. You didn't even hear the answer, the riddle or anything like that. And you just wasted a turn and you eliminated yourself. Like, come on now. Let's be so fucking for real.
And that's where I was like, when I was watching Bob H, that's where I was like, if I would have gotten up there and I didn't know the answer, I would have asked the gallery, Peanut Gallery, do y'all know the answer? Because again, this isn't just like about my safety. It's also about adding to the pot. Like,
right.
And that's like where it's like, all right, y'all are playing too much.
Right. But they did add money to the prize pot, right? It was the 20K. I can't remember how much it was.
I can't remember either.
I really barely keep up with the prize pot. I'd be forgetting sometimes that it exists. But anyway, so Dolores, she says she feels so blessed and loved, whatever, obviously threw Danielle under the bus. Danielle, on the way back to the mansion, to the castle, whatever you want to call it, right? She's talking to what's his name? Dylan, right?
Dylan. Mm-hmm.
They're in the car. And Lord Jesus, Lord, why did Danielle say, there's been one person that I feel like nobody's saying her name. And I'm sussing her out. And she's going to have the audacity to say Carolyn's name out of nowhere. And like you said, Oliver, there's something about the car that makes these people spill their heart out. The first thing on their minds, why did she go to one of the biggest chatterboxes, the biggest yapper in the house, Dylan?
But that's why.
I know, but like, come on, like, you know that this is going to blow up in your face. Why did you go up to him of all people first? Like, there should be a way. It's just Danielle, she was panicking, and I feel like she was panicking because she was realizing how much she messed up with the challenge and how much they're gonna be obviously looking at her as a traitor. And she was like, let me react on my feet. But it was like, no, babes, you should have thought of this clearly through. So
there is several things. So first of all, the problem that I have with it is how she pitched the idea. The way that she pitched the idea, she was like, I feel like there has to be a female in there, but it's nobody that's saying, because like if you're gonna pitch a name, there has to be a reason with it. There has to be some example of traitor behavior that you have seen and that you can give that idea with it. For you to just give a blank, just a blank piece of paper with a name written on it, girl, that's saying like that is saying this is the same thing what Wes said. How are you 100% sure? Because you're a traitor. The way that like I would have done it is I would have said, "Who do you think? Like, get the information out of Dylan. That's where you need to go. You have to get the information out of the people you're talking to then reinforce it and manipulate. That's the way it is. I do not know why she did that. I do agree she was panicking, but it just was like, girl, what? I was like so confused, so
And
lost.
And I agree with you, Sophie Dopey. She literally could have said anybody else's name. And honestly, I feel like as a trader, you don't need to say anybody's name. There's no reason for you to do that. You could have just been like, start peeping how certain, like, just start peeping how the people that you weren't looking at before are moving now. Like, you know what I mean? Just throw something out there, not a name. Like, this, Danielle. Never say a name, ever. Like, what the heck? Honestly, that
Yeah.
pissed me off. And the reason why I wanted to double back to what you were saying, like, why Dylan of all people, whatever. Her and Dylan are apparently close. Like, Dylan has been like having her back since the beginning, like since the first episode. You know what I mean? So for I wouldn't be surprised that she went to go and tell Dylan these certain things. I feel like she gets a lot of information from Dylan, and she thought that would have been the perfect person, like you said, because he yaps a lot. That he would have been the person to kind of like sprinkle that information around. She couldn't go to Rob. She couldn't go to Wes. She couldn't go to Derek. You know what I mean? The only other people was Dylan. Nobody else has any pull, you understand, in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel I just am like, Danielle, my girl, like, are we even gonna make it through this half of the season?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't believe it at this point. I believe Danielle is playing horrible to lower her target for BB30 All Stars. Let me live my French vanilla fantasy. I mean, you might be right. You might be right. I don't know. But whatever she's doing, she need to stop it. So, okay.
Probably like, don't put too much pressure on me, guys. Like,
Right.
she's like, I'm not who y'all think I am, so that she can go on All Stars. Like, ma'am,
Right.
you're letting me down.
Right. So, okay, so obviously Danielle, she chats with Brittany. They talk about like how they're so happy to see each other in the game. Da da da. What else did Brittany say? Because again, I just be so like, okay.
This is where Danielle pitched Carolyn, and then Brittany
Oh
was like,
yes.
"Oh, I'm not sure." And then there was a weird cut that the editors did where then Danielle was like, "She made it to the finale," and then Brittany was like,
Yes.
"You might have some legs there," and I was like, "Okay."
Right. Yeah. Brittany dismissed her so quick. She said, "Yeah, okay, that's fine."
And honestly, y'all, there's no way that Derek and Brittany don't know and or think that Danielle is a traitor. There's no way.
Yeah,
Especially with the
no.
way that they're producing all of this stuff and the way that even Derek, when he's talking about who he thinks is a murderer and things like that, he tends to not speak badly or anything on Danielle's name. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, I see y'all got some sort of outside like alliance, you know what I mean, together,
Yeah.
which is fine. Hey, honestly, you don't really need to get rid of all the traitors so early and so fast because they're just gonna get more. You know what I mean? So I understand like trying to keep certain things or certain people in the game to help you then further get along. And then until you build your numbers, then you can go attack the traders. Like, I understand that and it makes perfect sense. But yeah, that's how the likes of Brittany, freaking Derek, or all these other random people who have partners such as like Caroline and Rob, they're gonna get to the end. They're gonna get to the
Mhm.
end, and then they're gonna be fighting it out amongst themselves. Um,
Yes. Okay, so obviously we see some people having conversations before the round table. Derek again with his terrible ass reads. He's always wrong. Like he's always really the thing that we will see obviously is that eventually he starts, you know, thinking about Rob later on as a traitor, especially after he talks about it with Wes. Like, Rob gives Uncle Rob, but nah, like we gotta look out for him. So let's go to the targets. It's the round table. Nikki, Sierra, even though Sierra's safe because she won herself a shield, and Rob.
No, she wasn't safe for the round table. She was safe for if she makes it through the round
Through the
table,
round
which
table.
I
Yes,
really
for
didn't
murder.
really like. It was stupid because yeah,
Yeah,
what was the point of you
you're
doing
right.
all that work and then you don't even make it? That doesn't make any sense. That's no protection technically.
Yes.
Like, so
Oh,
yeah.
I do also want to make a comment because I forgot to mention this. I was very happy that the amount of shields that were given out was much lower. I said, thank you. Not everybody's gonna be protected. Like, come on now. But yes, so Sam puts the heat on Rob at this moment, right? Sam actually starts talking.
He popped
And
up. I was like, oh, Sam. I was like, oh.
Wait. Are y'all saying that Sam started the round table? We did not.
No. It just was that he
No.
just popped up. Like, it was like, I almost forgot what Sam's voice sounded like. I
Okay,
was
let's go
surprised.
back. Let's go
No.
back to
Well, it was
Ivar
Ivar.
starting
It
it.
was it
Yes.
was Ivar that started putting the heat on Rob for sure, for sure.
Yes. But Ivar is such a punk, y'all. He pisses me
Wait.
off.
But Ivar literally sets it up, right? He sets it up and at least he brings it up. He's like, and he doesn't throw Wes's name at this point. He just says it generally. So I said, okay, you cleaned it up a little bit. Where you're just saying, how could you not be a traitor, but you were so certain about Bob the drag queen? I want to give you the opportunity to clear it up. And I don't think Rob was expecting that, considering they already had a previous conversation. And you could tell like Rob was like, okay, but he did a fairly good job at cleaning it up. But I would still be looking at him like, nah, that makes total sense. And then that's where Sam makes that comment like, well, if you're going to be here tomorrow, then I'm definitely going to start looking at you. And I hope you mean that, Sam, because don't say that and not actually like prove that.
Because since we're at the round table, I'll quickly say this. A lot of the men here, they need to step it up. The women have been carrying this on their back for the past 4 episodes. And all these like, ooh, if you're here next time, I'm coming after you. No, you need to do that now. You need to do that now. This isn't no tomorrow business. This is the now. Like, if you have information, you have thoughts, you need to share with everybody to make an educated guess on who you want to or who you think is a traitor. I hate the whole, like, if you're here tomorrow, I know who to look for. It's like, girl, if y'all don't, please.
Right.
It's so stupid because if by the time tomorrow gets here, right, of course you could be murdered. You could be murdered twice, technically.
Yeah.
They can get you out at the round table. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, first of all, Sam, shut the hell up. Like, go back to washing your booty in the dang shower and all that stuff. But you, honestly, the for you to even speak and the things that you say is, I'll look at you tomorrow. Why not today? Especially after Ivor brought that up. Especially, weren't you one of the people in the room with Wes and Tom and all that stuff? Like, and you were in the room when Ivor pressed Rob about it, and it wasn't making sense to you back then. Obviously, for you to come to the round table and you to say that again, talking about, oh, I'll look at you after. Why not now? Y'all just wasting faithfuls. You know, just so that you can have another day with another traitor, and then y'all get rid of a faithful again. Like, y'all are not thinking. This cast, idiots.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Like, where is the thought process? Where are the wheels turning? Like, I don't understand why people, like, I'm the type of person, I really think things through A through Z, every which way, backwards and forwards, left and right. So it's like, there's no way you could tell me that, oh, I'll wait on you for tomorrow when everybody's ganging up on Nikki. Everybody's ganging up on this girl. So even if she stayed another freaking day, what would I have heard instead of you getting a traitor? You know what I mean? Keep a faithful, get a traitor. Even Alan was like, y'all just sending people home. Like, I don't understand what y'all are doing here.
Yes. And let's get back to the round table. So we see obviously everybody is going for Nikki, right? Rob explained that the reason why is because he felt like Bob was so headstrong. He was the one mainly talking, whatever. He could just tell, he could just look at him and he could tell that Bob was a traitor. And I said, yeah, okay. And then everybody's pointing the finger at Nikki, right? And then, which I thought was kind of foolish. And then Chriselle, because that's another thing we didn't speak about that. Chriselle mentions, well, we saw that she has a conversation with Rob, right? And this is also like a detriment to like the Faithfuls game, because why are y'all all going to Rob for all these things? And she literally tells him like, oh, while we were in the car, the way that Nikki reacted to you telling her that Bob the drag queen was going for her, said her name, it just like, I just felt weird. Like I got chills down my spine. I said, Chriselle. And then she's gonna be like, oh, I'm big on energies and everything. Mind you, I'm a Chriselle fan. Don't get it twisted. I like Chriselle from Selling Sunset. I really do. But when she was like, oh, I could tell, I could read the energies, I said, okay, PSC&G, well, you can't this time. Because what is going on here? Miss Con Edison, you are wrong. The energy vibes wrong.
I'm gonna give her the benefit of let me give some grace.
No.
Maybe the chill down her spine was for Rob,
but
she misunderstood it for Nikki. I'm just gonna say that.
But if y'all were in an alliance together and y'all named it the Bambis, why wouldn't do people not want to talk to people like to help figure things out or anything? Like y'all really just think y'all can figure this shit out on your own? You know what I mean? Why? Go ahead.
I was gonna say too, the other thing that really pissed me off the most about this entire roundtable, wasn't it like last episode or 2 episodes ago, y'all said, I don't even care if she is a traitor.
That was Gabby that said that though. So that's
what happened to that
a
energy?
little bit taken aback by when Gabby. I didn't think that Gabby said anything, but in the comments they said that there might have been a clip missed, where it looks like Gabby did defend Nikki towards Ivor or whatever. But to me, it just seemed like literally doe-eyed. They were all like,
yeah.
Like, you would think that y'all would stick together. That was the whole point of y'all doing an alliance. Y'all could have made a really, even if Nikki was a freaking traitor. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Okay. I just felt like they could have like Nikki, you could tell that Nikki was just so surprised that like they weren't writing harder for her, and I don't blame her for leaving upset. And I do understand where Nikki was coming from. Like, she is not the loudest. Like, who knows? Like, Sierra also mentioned this, right? After that they got like put in the coffins, who knows how long that they were in there. For some people, that is a very traumatizing thing. So like, I can also imagine, like, I literally was laid out in a coffin for however damn long filming this dang show. I'm creeped out. Like, there's a lot of weird things. Tensions are high. Everybody thinks it's me. And now the people, or the one person that I'm closest to, because Gabby seemed like she was gonna hold it down for Nikki until she saw that the whole room was voting for Nikki. And then we also, like, I'm not gonna lie, like Nikki and Sierra going back and forth, and then Sierra then pointing out, like, have you even laughed with your gut? Which, okay, sure. I mean, I guess you just think that she's very robotic. You think that she's nonchalant. Clearly, it's coming across as like, is she really like, does she have any care in the world as to what's happening or her being jeopardized in this game? But
my problem is, Sierra, how are you going to say, have you ever laughed with your gut when 24 hours ago you were criticized for profanity? Like, I'm just, please. Like,
and also, I need them to help each other, because everybody's throwing it against you two. Y'all two names are coming up for weeks, right? On end. Wouldn't that in your head be like, okay, now like somebody's obviously trying to get us to go against each other so that we're both targeting each other. Fine, we knock each other out. But that should not be an excuse for the remaining house guests to then be thinking that me and you are the traitors. And now we're wasting precious time at the round table arguing about each other being the traitor, which is why I
Right.
was so freaking happy when Bob Harper
Yes.
told them, like, okay, y'all are getting distracted. Because in my head, as the episode was going on, I was like, bro, Sierra, Nikki, why y'all even going this hard right now?
Yeah.
And talking to each other. Y'all should be throwing it back on them. Like, why does everyone feel that it's us? And how come another third name has been brought up and nobody's bringing anything? Like, I would have threw it like back to Rob or back
Yeah.
to the third person that they had said. So then for Bob to bring that up, and he said, I said, thank you, Jesus, thank you. Somebody's listening to me. Somebody is hearing me yell at the TV right now. And he brought it back. Energy.
But
okay.
he brought it back for what? Because he ends up voting for Nikki.
But that was because the rest of the freaking house, all of them were voting for him.
But you just made a valid point though. Like, he just makes a valid point. He could have literally been like, no, I do think it's you. And I think that you guys are all wrong. I think you guys are voting wrong. And really would have been like, come on now. Like, he knew what to say. He had this prepared. Like, he's clearly like peeping everything. He knows that Bob was like, he was on the money. And then
and no shade, in my opinion,
that bothered me.
This is the time to start throwing people under the bus. So if I was Bob H, I would have been said, yeah, I think it's a traitor, and thanks to Wes for this theory. And then I would have said, Wes was here, you were in the room, did we not all agree? That's when would have been, that is when you start saying, oh, throwing names, because now it's like, okay, now we can build momentum. Because again, this is a game about numbers. And if you need to help to actually build momentum and bring in numbers, you don't just do it as a one-person team. You're like, oh, it was me and these people, by the way. Because also, too, if you say it in that way with not only you, but also these other people who were in the room, that gives you protection for getting murdered. That gives you a protection. Because now if you're targeted, guess what? My number one target, you're becoming the suspect. And so I just was like, yeah, he said it, but then the way he just said, oop, let's just sweep it under the rug. I'm like, listen here, Mary Poppins. Stand on business.
Let me give him some grace, because I could say the same shit for Gabby. And I could say the same ish for Chriselle. Like, granted, if you got a shiver down your spine or whatever, none of y'all, even Jeremy, when Tony was leaving, voted for somebody else. Even, what's his name? Dylan didn't even vote for, I don't remember who he voted for, but he didn't vote for none of the options. You know what I mean?
Dylan voted for Gabby,
which I thought was hilarious.
So
that was so left field.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like, why do y'all don't know how to stick to each other? Like, y'all don't know how to stick to y'all friends, like, and things like that.
But then this goes to show, right? Like, the Bambis are not gamers, right? Like, Nikki is the only one really that has ever had like to do like some acting, like, obviously since she was a WWE diva. But that doesn't like involve actual competition strategy. So I'm like, that's also the detriment to the Bambis. They didn't have a gamer on their end that would have been like, no, we need to band together, point blank, period. Chriselle, and then also like, I'm like, Chriselle, why didn't you have a conversation with Gabby about this for real? Because I feel like we didn't see that either. Maybe they did have that conversation, but I'm like,
they didn't.
I'm like, this is odd.
At the end, they didn't, because at the end she was like, I'm so sorry, apologizing to Gabby.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't know if you would, think that I'm this, and so they obviously didn't have that conversation.
Yeah. So. But it was almost a unanimous vote. Nikki is officially banished from the castle. And she's like, listen, like, not everybody is like this big personality. you know, I'm low key kind of thing, and I'm a faithful. And of course the room is like, oh, distraught because they were led astray. And then of course you have Chriselle, everybody's crying, Sierra's upset as well. She's like, dang, I was going in on Nikki. And I'm like, nobody told you to do that but yourself.
Right. Like you were the one who was made volleying back and forth like it was the US Open. Why are you
Yeah.
over here sitting like, oh my God, I wouldn't have known.
They were sobbing.
Please.
Yes. And
Sobbing.
Chriselle, and then obviously this comes with the game, right? Like these people, they're building these bonds with these people. Like they only have each other. They don't have access to their phones, whatever. All these things. They're spending all this time with them. But I'm over here like, Chriselle, come on. Like you really, because she gasped.
She didn't even gasp. She just was like, the eyes opened and things. I was like, so that was it. You couldn't even talk to her about that. So you telling me you couldn't devise a line of questioning to get maybe an answer that would be okay? You decided to go to Rob. First of all, y'all. First of all, when they brought back the masked figures or whatever for the challenge or whatever, and then they got rid of them, that should have been a refresher in these stupid people's minds. Like, yeah, Rob walked in with them. You understand?
Yeah.
He had that whole do and all that stuff. He walked in with them, and then he was gone for like a day, and then all of a sudden he comes back in the game with 3 other people, and then he's getting rid of Bob, and then his name's getting brought up at the round table, and he still manages to make it through. Are these people not thinking like me? I would have been like, yeah, you twice now. You doing some sneaky shit. Like not even you. The way that they're producing you is very sneaky. So why would you even suspect him?
Call me petty. Petty LaBelle, if you will. Petty Johansson. Petty Wap. I don't care. But I'm serious though. Those 3 men who came in late, trust and believe, 1, 2, 3, out the door. I'm sorry. This is an OG affair. I don't care if you're faithful or not. Y'all gotta get out.
Yes, that's like why are they not treating this like the circle? You know, like when people join the circle mad late, like that they're not winning. Like, come on, that should be the same 3 for these 3 men who have all won their OG shows more than once. Why are y'all not thinking one of them has to be a traitor and it should be Rob? Consider we turned him away. I don't understand why they didn't think that. I was getting very annoyed by that as well. So thank you, G, for pointing that out. And okay, so we see them, obviously they're crying. Oh my gosh, they're devastated. Nikki's gone. She's a faithful. Yeah. Then you see the conversation that we previously mentioned of Derek and Wes peeping the way that Rob's demeanor was during the round table. And Derek specifically is like, he gives off this unk vibe, like he's Uncle Rob, but we got to be careful because look at how he was looking at everybody in the room. And I said, oh, finally, Derek, your investigative skills are finally working to your favor. Like, about time you clocking in. Okay. And then Wes is like, okay. Wes is taking the information because if it was up to Wes, he would get rid of both of them. He really would. He don't want Derek at the end. And he don't want
Heck no, and he shouldn't. None of them should
be
each other at the end. None of them should. And honestly, Derek, even though he's already mentioned this in the previous episode, I'm like, okay, thank you for bringing it back full circle. We know that Danielle is, but like, get Rob out. You don't need him in there. Honestly,
and Rob is more dangerous.
He's so dangerous. The amount of information that this man has, that these people keep bringing to him. And yes, that man's eyes are shifty as hell. Up, down, up, down. He's literally always thinking, always on. So like, I just don't understand why these people are not thinking. I remember somebody saying something like, Rob would be too much of an obvious choice to be a traitor, so they wouldn't do it. Yeah. I was just like, y'all freaking like y'all not thinking.
My other thing too is, as like, if I was in that house and let's say I was a faithful. The other thing that I keep in the back of my mind, and some of the comments here have said it the same thing, I would keep friends with the traitor who I know wouldn't murder me. Do
Right.
I trust San Diego Rob to keep my ass safe? Absolutely the fuck not. So I will take the first chance to get London Rob out of this house. Out of it. Scotland Rob, gotta go. Gotta go. Paris Rob, see ya. Au revoir. France. Okay? I'll be the same. Adios. Spanish. Mexico City, Rob. I don't know. Take a passport.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so funny throughout this season. You calling him all types of cities and Rob. I'm dead.
Every city but Boston.
Yeah. No. Well, Rob is they coming for you. They sniffing you out, Rob. And honestly, the traitors, y'all are not doing a good job at staying undercover. It's gonna be very interesting to see how the next episode goes. Cause again, as we saw in the little preview, they're about to get into it. Clearly, they feel like they're going against each other. Everybody's playing for themselves. And I just want to know who's going to take the shot first.
Dylan is the one who told Caroline about
Yes.
Danielle
yes.
talking about or mentioning her name. He said that he's gonna try really hard to bring that down and so that she's not really targeting her. So that's how I'm like, okay, Dylan has Danielle's back. He does, but he's also trying to get in with Caroline. I wouldn't blame him because, like we were saying, nobody knows where the heck she is. She's a complete wild card. So if I could pull her in by sharing a little bit of info, cool, not a problem. Like, I wasn't tripping on the fact that he gave up Danielle in that way or whatever. I blame Danielle for not working that relationship enough for Caroline to not be so freaking triggered by it. Yo, the moment they said her name, and I have to let go of some biases that I have of Caroline, but like I knew it. The moment they said it, I was like, it's a wrap. None of these plans, none of these traders are gonna make it through. They're gonna end up. One of them is gonna stay, and then they're gonna have to get new traders. You know what I mean? Because Rob messed up the whole feng shui of everything, and then to do that, and then for
just
Caroline
like a man
to have that information now, y'all, Caroline is about to turn up and turn out. Like,
Gee, you kill me every time you call her Caroline. I
Is
swear to God.
Is it not Caroline?
It's
What
Carolyn.
It's Carolyn?
Yes, but it kills me every single time you say Caroline. It cracks me up just like how Oliver calls Rob every other city.
It's probably because all these shows that we do and everybody says their name differently.
I know.
Sticking with me from somewhere else.
Caroline, I know. I keep thinking of Shorty from Vampire Diaries. I don't know why.
LOL.
I keep thinking of her. But Carolyn, listen. Carolyn's vocal fry is gonna get worse next episode because she's gonna be very upset. And she's pissed, and I get it. I want to see her active because I've been feeling like she's been acting a little sleepy this entire time. Like, girl, do something. Like, come on.
But I don't want to see her active towards Danielle though. Y'all should
no,
be active towards Rob. Do you understand? And if you want to get active towards Danielle, then you need to do that in private, outside of Rob's view. Because now then he's gonna be like,
yeah,
like, let me pop myself in between y'all.
He's already on it.
He's already doing it. But I'm just saying, like, Caroline, girl, you already on thin ice with me. Like, I just watch yourself. All right, it's giving.
This, see, though, for me, this would be if they did this. This is a conspiracy theory. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. But if they did it, they would win me back full. If they go after Rob, and then if Danielle and Carolyn team up and they flip the script and say Dylan was the one who threw my name out and they tag teamed him, I would be on board. Will that happen? Absolutely not. But I could listen. Whoever said it before, French vanilla fantasy. Let's go. Add some
But
caramel drizzle in it too.
so what do y'all think though? Because I truly think that either Rob or Danielle has the potential of going home next week.
I agree because there's nobody else. Because I don't think they're gonna go after Sierra anymore. I don't think Gabby with that one weird ass vote. It's definitely going to be, which I think is actually very comical. The next round table is going to be the Traitors versus Traitors versus Traitors.
Yeah.
And whoever has the most evidence, they gonna get the boot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and I'm gonna be mad if it's another woman that goes home next week.
I'm over
They
it.
need to just get Rob out, honestly.
Get Ivor out. What does he do?
Ivor does more than Sam. So I'm gonna leave him.
Does he?
He does.
Sam at least can carry stuff for the freaking challenges. Ivor's ass is, come on now.
Listen, Sam can carry a shower shot.
I mean,
do we want to see Ivar in the shower? Let's ask that question.
I don't even want to see Sam in the shower, but I definitely don't want to see Ivor.
No. But I'm just saying, like, honestly, so many of these men can go. They absolutely can walk right out. No, nobody even cares.
Yeah. Like,
somebody just mentioned it. Tom. Get rid of Tom.
They said they're gonna go after you, Oliver.
Listen,
dang, Bloody Money, you love Sandoval?
Tom Voldemort can get on out. I'm sorry.
Yes. He thought he ate that up. He thought he ate that Tom Riddle line up.
Tom Riddle, girl, like, first of all, you were a cheater, and now you want to compare yourself to a villain? Sounds right.
It sounds accurate, actually.
Oh my
you are a villain. You are a villain. Okay. I don't even watch Vanderpump Rules, and Sandoval is definitely a villain. Like, point blank. Period. If you watch reality TV, you've heard of his crazy shenanigans. That man is insane. Oh, and I thought that was also funny that, like, Chriselle. Yes, and she was like, oh, it's gonna be so hard for me to choose whose face should I take down, Tom's or Derek's, or no, what was it, that Tom and Derek?
Yes. She was like,
oh, sorry, Tom. I was like,
oh no, it was Tom or Dolores.
Oh, okay.
But my other thing was at the end of the round table when Tom and Chriselle were talking.
Yes.
And she was like, oh, thanks. Now I really feel like shit.
Yeah.
He was like, I know you don't F with me, but I really respect that. I respect that you spoke up for yourself and blah. I was like, she don't want to hug your musty, sweaty ass. Like, she don't F with you.
Oh my gosh, that was funny because she was just like, oh. But anyways,
so many people who need to go, y'all.
Yeah. Well, everyone, that concludes this episode, this review, live recap and review. Thank y'all so much for commenting. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will catch y'all for the next episode, same time, same place. And make sure to hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to follow us at Reality Unloaded Pod and Reality Unloaded Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, like the youngins say, cute. I don't know if I'm doing the right fingers, or this. But bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone. Peace out.